Okay, so this takes me kind of to the next area of conversation here, and that is I've been doing these para appointments, PERA. I think it's professional educator, resource advisor, something like that. And so what we do under that program, with these preset appointments that are $65 per appointment, is that we get set up with appointments with teachers, and it could be firemen, police officers, municipal workers, maintenance workers at universities or local school systems, but a majority are teachers, 403B and 457B plans, retirement pension plans that they're working. And so they're really designed to be a 2-appointment close. You do fact finding in the first appointment, then you do the second appointment. And majority of them know that it's going to be a Zoom call or some internet call. So we text them our Zoom info. Some of them, my first one was face-to-face because she just wanted to meet face-to-face. So I went down there to the school, met her, and so I have a second appointment with her like Saturday. I got a bunch of second appointments Friday and Saturday. So we'll see what happens with them. There's a lot of cool things I can do for them though. And but what I've noticed about web meetings is that web meetings rock. Getting face-to-face with a client rocks. There's this juju that goes on. I get to see them, they see me. It is the next best thing to being there. Where have I heard that before? It is truly the next best thing to being there, okay? And so I am encouraging you, like I've never encouraged you before, to see if you can switch it to a Zoom call, okay, or whereby.com. So this is the Zoom, zoom.us or whereby.com. The thing about Zoom, gang, is that Zoom requires the other person to either have Zoom already installed or it requires them to download Zoom on their computer. Now, if you're talking to a 69, 79-year-old, they're probably like not really savvy with that. So you might have difficulty with that, and I wouldn't probably go there unless they already knew they had Zoom. Sometimes grandparents, their son or daughter, help them download it so it could be on a Zoom call with the family. So you're starting to see that more and more. But if they don't have any clue, if they're a senior, I wouldn't mess with it. So one thing you could use is whereby.com, okay? And whereby.com, you can do face-to-face meetings with people. You can share your desktop, and it's free. And all they got to do is go to whereby.com, and then they can log into a meeting, your meeting code. Well, I have to log in. Anyway, you give them your login link, and then there's a meeting code that you give them. So this free version here, okay? And then they can come on your meeting room, and then you can get with them. So all they got to do is go on a browser, and then everything's good, right? So that's another alternative. But I tell you, there's something to the interpersonal thing. And so let me kind of give you the feel for that. So I'm going to attempt to do a multimedia presentation here. I'm going to switch cameras. Okay, so I'm going to go into teaching mode from my, so this is like what the camera sees when I'm doing Zoom calls. It's actually set up a little bit more, it's my office, man. It's there's something about them seeing you in the office and kind of the office environment. And I've got my cameras on a tripod thing. I can't so I have it I have a huge screen, so that's why I can do it real, kind of fix that. okay? So when I'm talking to the client, I'm doing this. They see me, right? And, you know, I guess they could see my background too. I'm not trying to make any statements. It's just who, just my office, right? And we just start talking. Like, it's pretty cool. Like, I'll do a pension review with them. I'm just doing this. I'm just talking to them. Now, the beautiful thing about this is I get to look at them, right? I'm looking at them. So when my eyes stray from the camera, okay, so it looks like I'm looking at you, right? I'm staring at you. And when you're doing a Zoom meeting, when you're talking to someone, I'm staring at them. Because if I start looking at them and I'm not talking to them, right? I'm looking at them and I'm thinking I'm talking to them, but I'm talking to the image that's on the Zoom call. And it's kind of disconcerting, isn't it? When I'm talking to you, but I'm not looking at you, right? It's kind of like anybody, right? So when I'm talking to you, then I'm engaging with you, right? So that's one thing about doing Zoom meetings or webinar meetings, is that you got to be looking in the camera, right? Because if you look at the screen, kind of looking at them, it's just weird. You don't create any connection. But the connection is face to face. Now, you can look at them when they're talking. So when they're talking, I can look at them and I can read them. And here's what's cool about doing the interaction is that you can use these really cool NLP techniques, right? NLP techniques to determine how they think, okay? So this one gal I was talking to, she's like really young, like 24-year-old teacher. And it was really cool. She's so young and she's got so much time to be able to put together a great retirement plan for her. And one thing I noticed about her is she looked up a lot. So I'd ask her a question and she'd like look up, and for the you NLPers out there, neurolinguistic programming, you can look up. Looking up means you're visual. So you process information visually. So why is that important? Because if you find out that they're visual, and I tend to do majority visual, I do other ways in neurolinguistic program, there are three modes: visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. It's called VAK, V-A-K, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. And when you find that someone takes in information one of those three ways, you got to talk to them in their language, okay? So when they're looking it up all the time, they're visual. It's just the way visual people are. They access their memories, access information in their brains visually, okay? So visual people tend to talk fast. That's why I talk fast, because the pictures of my mind are flying, right? Everyone says, well, everyone's visual. Now, everyone can think visually in their head, but people access and take in information one of those three ways. There's another one. There's a fourth one, not as popular, but just to make it simple for you: visual, auditory, kinesthetic. So when you're talking to someone visual, you got to speed up your voice because they're going to be talking fast, typically, okay? The other thing about visual people is you got to use their language. So another way to confirm that they're visual info people is they use visual words like, yeah, I see what you mean, right? People say, I see what you mean. That's a visual. So the words they use to describe stuff, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, they use see a lot. They use, all kinds of visual words to indicate how they describe the world to them, okay? So that's another indicator that they're visual. So what does that mean for you? Well, you got to talk their language, man. So instead of saying, how does that sound to you? Because the sound are auditory people. So you would say, how's that sound to you? You would switch to, how's that look? Does that look good to you, Joe? Does that look good to you, Mary? So you use look, I see what you mean. Let me ask you a question. Where do you see yourself at retirement? How old do you think you'd be? Okay, right? You would use those visual words in your communication to create that rapport. Now, auditory people, they look side to side. It's like they're staring at their ears. Like when you ask them questions. So Alex, tell me about how you met Jenny. And if I'm Auditory, I'll go, well, okay, so you see it when I'm going side to side, it's auditory. And how you know that, they start using sound words like, yeah, that sounds really good, Alex, right? They use sound type words. Wow, I hear that. So you would communicate them in sound words. Like, so how does it sound to you? Does it sound good? Right? Man, I hear you. I totally hear you. Okay, now here's the problem, is if you're not auditory, it's going to be hard for you to come up with sound words. So there's a great book. Oh man, I just saw it the other day. Where was it? I have this great book on NLP. Hold on, let me see if I can grab it. Okay, I gotta get plugged back in. See, now is this a little bit more intimate, you and I, than me in front of the green screen? This book here, let me not get glare. Develop Your NLP Skills. This is a really great book by Andrew Bradbury. It's all kinds of Andrew Bradbury, and it talks about the VAK, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, right? So this is a really good primer on it. I know this is Sales 404, but look, you want to get good at making sales, you want to make a lot of money, you got to study your craft in interpersonal interaction, man. And so words. So the third one is kinesthetic, and these are feeling people. So I tend to have a little bit of this too. There's a combination of what people will use, but feelers look down. So when you ask me, so Alex, tell me about when you met Ginny. Well, man, it was a great day. It was like it was a great day. And then I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it in feeling more. It's like, man, I tell you what, I got very excited when I met her. I got really excited. It was like something that, you know how you feel like maybe you found the right one, that feeling that, So here's the other thing too. It's interesting about this whole notion is that, and I mean, Bandler and the other dude did this in the 70s, NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And you can look this up on YouTube. It's called IQs, CUES. And you can learn a whole bunch about it. So you don't have to buy the book. You can go on YouTube. I'll tell you all about IQs. But, feeling people, we'll talk about. So when you're talking to a feeling person, it's like, so how's that feel, Joe? How's that feel that Mary and Sammy, Martha, and Bridget are going to have to go through that? How's that make you feel? How's that hit you, right? A lot of those feeling type words. And what you're going to find now that I've told you this is listen to how your significant other talks and watch their eyes. If you ask them a question for them to remember something, watch where their eyes go. If it pops up right away, they're visual. If they kind of go like this, they're trying to hear that memory. It's weird, but they're trying to relate to it by hearing, right? And then if they look down, they're trying to access the memory by feeling. So here's the other thing that works is if I ask you to do something like, okay, I want you all to look up and remember the colors of your high school. What were the colors of your high school? By me asking you to look up, I've accessed your visual part of your brain to remember the colors, right? So it kind of works in a reverse method, now you wouldn't do that with a client and say, okay, client, I want you to look to the left and then tell me, no, you wouldn't do that. But what I'm saying is that if you want to access it right away, you just move your eyes and you'll get there, okay? Now you're going to find people that do a combination, like they'll look up, they'll kind of look to the side and then look down. They have a dominant one that they do, okay? There's a dominant one that they do. But you're going to have to relate to them that way. That's why I think you have a chance when you're visually in front of someone that you can take advantage of all these psychological tricks that can create rapport with somebody, right? And this is one of the most important one is looking at them when you're looking at the camera. I mean, I've been on camera for a long time. I've done professional stuff on camera and film and video where I've earned money, some pretty good money doing it. And like when you're actually you're not going to look at the camera when you're in the video, right? Or when you're in a film or something like that. But when you are looking at people, you're looking at the camera. And it's a weird thing looking at the camera because it's not the person. You're conditioned to look at people like I'm looking at Annette right now. See, I'm looking at you, Annette. Only problem is you don't think I'm looking at you because I'm looking away from you, okay? But when I'm saying I'm looking at you, Annette, I'm looking at you. Then it's much more personal, isn't it? That's probably one of the biggest tips on connecting these meetings. But man, I tell you, I got some good juju going on with these clients that I just enjoy. It's been a kick. It's been fun. Thoroughly enjoyed it, you know, and I'm looking forward to doing more, okay? So really encourage you, gang, to take advantage of the opportunity, if you can, to set up meetings with people. So I'm going to flip my screen around. To get with them, I'll see you on the other side. Oh, where's my my mouse? Okay. Yeah, like the magic's gone now, right? The magic's gone because you see what's behind the camera. You think I'm like in this big studio, but actually it's my office, that converted office studio. So you see how that works? So I really encourage you, man, if you can get clients on the Zoom call or whatever, it's going to, I think, increase your bond and rapport, which I think will relate to or translate to increasing your ratios as far as closing rates and everything, man. Just because that, you know, that great, good juju you're getting on. So learn NLP, learn the IQs that will like amp up big time your bond and rapport, all right? So let me answer some of these questions I've been getting.